Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Adnan Zaki. As the moderator, this time we will present the results of our group on assessing listening skills. Therefore, we will immediately start the material. Okay, the first one is introduction. Listening plays an important role in developing language skills because listening is the main factor in communicating. Because we listen first and then the results of what we listen to will be revealed. Therefore, it can be said that a good speaker is a good listener too. Every teacher of language knows that one's oral production ability other than monologues, speech, reading aloud, and the like is only as good as one's listening comprehension ability, but of even further impact is the likelihood that input in the oral mode accounts for a large proportion of successful language acquisition. The next is basic types of listening. Think about what you do when you listen. Literally in nanoseconds, the following process flashes through your brain. Number 1, you recognize speech, sounds, and hold a temporary imprint of them in short-term memory. Number 2, you simultaneously determine the type of speech event: monologue, interpersonal dialogue, transactional dialogue that is being processed and attend to its context, who the speaker is, location, purpose, and the content of the message. Number 3, you use bottom-up linguistic decoding skills and or top-down background schemata to bring a plausible interpretation to the message and assign a literal and intended meaning to the utterance. Number 4, in most cases, or except for repetition tasks which involve short-term memory only, you delete the exact linguistic form in which the message was originally received in favor of conceptually retaining important or relevant information in long-term memory. The next is micro and macro skills of listening. Richard's 1983 list of micro skills has proven useful in the domain of specifying objectives for learning and may be even more useful in forcing test makers to carefully identify specific assessment objectives. In the following box, the skills are subdivided into what I prefer to think of as macro skills, or attending to the smaller bits and chunks of language in more of a bottom-up process, and macro skills, or focusing on the larger elements involved in a top-down approach to a listening task. The micro and macro skills provide 17 different objectives to assess in listening.
Okay, micro and macro skill of listening adapted from Richard 1009, 8 and 3. Micro skill: discriminate among the distinctive sound of English, distinguish word boundaries, recognize core of words, and interpret word order patterns and their significance. Process page containing pauses, error correction, and other performance variables. Recognize grammatical word classes, noun, verb, etc. System AG, tenses, agreement, pluralization, patterns, rules, and elliptical forms. The text sentence constituents and distinguish between major and minor constituents. Microskill recognize the communicative function of utterance according to situation, participant, goals. In inter-situation participant goals using real-world knowledge from event, ideas, and so on describe, predict, outcomes, infer links and connection between events. Deduct causes and effect and detect such relation as main idea, supporting idea, new information, give information, generalization, and exemplification. Distinguish between literal and implied meanings, use facial characteristics, body language, and other nonverbal classes to decipher meanings. Develop and use a battery of listening strategies such as selecting keywords, guessing the meaning of words from context appending for help, and signaling comprehension like there, of. From the stage, we can derive four commonly identified types of listening performance, each of which compress a category within which to consider assessment tasks and procedure. Intensive listening. Listening for perception of the components, phenomena, word, intonation, discord markers, and etc. for a larger stratum of language. Responsive listening. Listening to a relatively short stretch of language, agreeing, question, comment, comprehension, check, etc. in order to make a quality short response. Selective listening. Processing stresses of discourse such as short monologues for several minutes in order to scan for certain information. Extensive listening. Extensive performance range for listening to lecture to listening to a conversation and driving a comprehensive message or purpose. Listening to a guest for the main idea and making inference are all part of extensive listening. And then sample of tests. A. Designing assessment test, intensive listening. A. Recognize phonological and morphological elements. Phonemic pair consonant. Test taker here. He is from California. Test taker read. A. Has from California, and B. She is from California. And then morphological pair at ending. Test taker here. I missed you very much. Test taker read. A. I missed you very much, or B. I miss you very much. And then B. Purpose recognition. Sentence paraphrase. Test taker here. Test taker here. Hello, my name is Keiko. I come from Japan. Test takers read. A. Keiko is comfortable in Japan. B. Keiko wants to come to Japan. And C. Keiko is Japanese. And D. Keiko likes Japan.
Assessment text. Responsive listening. A question and answer format can provide some interactivity in the slower and listening text. First, appropriate response to the question. Test taker here. How much time did you take to do your homework? And test taker read. A. About $10. B about an hour, C about yes I did, and the test taker must be choose the correct answer. Second is open-ended response to question. Test taker here, how much time did you take to do your homework? Test taker read blanks. If open-ended response format gain a small amount of authenticity and creativity, they of course suffer some in their particle. A teacher must then read student response and judge their appropriateness, which take time. 3. Designing assessment text. Selective listening. A third type of listening performance is selective listening, in which the test taker listens to a limited quantity of oral input and must do the same within some specific information. A number of techniques have been used that require selective listening. First, listening clause. Listening clause task, sometimes called closed dictation or partial dictation, require the task test taker to listen to story, monologue, or conversation and simultaneously read the written text in which is selected word or phrase have been delayed. Example of listening clause. Test taker here. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have some connecting gate information for those of you making connection to other flight out of Francisco. Flight blanks to Portland will depart from gate blanks at blanks p.m. Flight blanks to Reno will depart at blah 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 p.m. from gate blah blah blah. Flight blanks to Monterey will depart at blanks p.m. from gate blanks, and flight blanks to Sacramento will depart from gate blanks at blanks p.m. Test taker write the missing word or phrase in the blank. D. Designing assessment text responsive listening. Another and more authentic example of extensive listening is found in a popular genre of the assessment text, in which the test taker is present with a stimulus monologue or conversation and then is asked to respond to set a conversation question.
Communicative stimulus response text. Dialogue and multiple choice comprehension items. Test taker here. Direction. Now you will hear a conversation between Lynn and her doctor. You will hear the conversation 2 times. After you hear the conversation the second time, choose and the correct answer for question 11 to 15 below. Mark your answer on the answer sheet provided. Okay. Doctor, good morning. Lynn, what's the problem? Lynn, well, you see, I have a terrible headache. My nose is running and I really dizzy. Doctor, okay, anything else? Lynn, I have been coughing. I think have a fever and my stomach aches. Doctor, I see. When did this start? Lynn, well, let's see. I went to the lake last weekend, and after I returned home, I start sneezing. Doctor, you must have the flu. You should get lots of rest, drink hot beverages, and stay warm. Do you follow me? Lynn, well, yeah, but shouldn't take some medicine. Doctor, sleep and rest are as good as medicine when you have the flu. Lynn, okay, thanks, Dr. Brown. After listening to the speaker test, the listeners are to be able to answer the question correctly. Test takers read. 11. What is Lynn's problem? A. She feels horrible. B. She ran too fast all the lake. C. She's been drinking too many herb beverages. 12. When did Lynn's problem start? A. When she saw her doctor. B. Before she went to the lake. C. After she came from the lake. 13. The doctor said that Lynn A. flew to the lake last weekend. B. Must not get the flu. C. Probably has the flu. 14. The doctor told Lynn A. to rest. B. to follow him. C. to take some medicine. 15. According to Dr. Brown, sleep and rest are medicine when you have the flu. A. More effective than. B. As effective as. C. Less effective than. How to assess. There are the different aspects that you should pay attention when assessing listening. These factors can be called types of listening performance. These are the four of them. The first, intensive listening for perception, phoneme, intonation, and discourse makers. Second, responsive listening to a short stretch of language so you can make an equally short response. Third, selective. This type of listening performance requires that the learners listen for specific pieces of information. 4. Extensive listening to lengthy lectures or conversation in order to get the general idea of something. Listening for gist, listening for the main idea, and making inference are short part of effective listening.